Hey SmartPak fans, it's Jessica from the Equine Health Team. 2015 is here, believe it or not, and it's the time of year when we're all trying to set our goals and think about how we can be our best self in the year to come. So I thought I'd take a chance to reflect on how I did against my goals in 2014 and what I've set for resolutions and goals for the coming year. If you follow our blog, you may have seen that I have an absolutely adorable little horse named Sawyer. He's a Lippet Morgan. He's only 14.3. Lippet Morgans are the true old type Morgan. They don't have any crosses back to saddlebreds. So he's a little hardy tank. He's kind of like a mini warm blood, super athletic, but also really easygoing and kind of like a golden retriever on hooves. I mean, he's just so lovable. So he is my horse of a lifetime. I absolutely found my perfect partner, and I just could go on and on about him all day. Thinking in terms of goals, last year, or kind of early 2014 was a little bit tough in terms of horsemanship because I had a broken arm and I was still recovering from the injury. So he ended up having the winter off, and then we moved to a new barn and we had a crazy busy summer here at SmartPak. So 2014, the very end part of the year is the part that I'm most proud about in terms of my horsemanship, because kind of the last 4 months of the year, I was able to really get myself and Sawyer on a consistent training schedule for the first time since I had had an injury almost a year before, and either have a lesson or have him have a training ride with my trainer consistently every single week, and then I was either doing groundwork or riding him, even in the dark, under the lights, outside, at least 3 days a week, which I know some of you might have your horses in your backyard and ride more often than that, but I'm usually out of my house 13-hour days, and to get to the barn after work, after I've been here all day, is sometimes harder than I wish. So for me, that fall and the winter so far, I'm really proud of myself by how consistently I've been able to ride, and he's going great as a result. So 2015 is going to be about keeping that up, but also we're going to chat about some of the other goals that I have and some of the goals that you have as well. So the first question I'm supposed to ask you guys is, what were your riding goals and New Year's resolutions from last year, and did you accomplish them? I guess I already explained mine, just kind of getting back in the saddle and being consistent. So I feel really good about that, but we'd love to hear from you. How was 2014 in terms of your horsemanship, and do you feel good about where you landed, or do you have to give yourself a fresh start in 2015? All right, moving on to the next question. What is your riding New Year's resolution for this year? So for me, I already mentioned I want to keep the consistency going. That's really important despite busy work days and some business travel that I have coming up. I'm either going to have my horse being worked by my trainer, or I'm going to get to the barn and see him as often as possible and keep that consistency up. In terms of more exciting stuff, I really want to try extreme trail competition. And if you've read any of my past blog entries about me and Sawyer, I think this is hysterical because I've had this crazy journey with riding and my horsemanship. I came from kind of a hunter-jumper background as a teenager in particular, and wouldn't be caught dead without my tailored sportsman and my hair in a hairnet. And now I have a 14.3 hand old type Morgan with a long mane, and I ride in a Western saddle, and my ultimate goal is to do extreme trail competitions where we have to like jump in the kiddie pool and do all kinds of crazy stuff. So for me, my journey with horses has really changed, not so focused on the serious competition and much more about being the best horsewoman I can be for my horse, the best partner I can be, and then taking that and putting it to the test and setting some goals that say, I can do all kinds of crazy cool stuff with my horse, and he trusts me and he listens to me and he has fun doing it. And if your horse really loves his job, I don't know if there's any better compliment to your horsemanship. So extreme trail competition, if you haven't heard of it, it's kind of like an obstacle course gone crazy. And I'm trying to seek out some places where we can find some interesting obstacles. And my horse is super brave and curious, and you do the same thing twice and he's already bored. So I think he's absolutely born for this type of riding. All right, next question. As a rider, what do you aspire to be? What are your ultimate goals? So we want to hear from you guys. In terms of me, I would say, I already kind of explained, I really want to have my horse every single day greet me at the gate, happy to see me, and that's a reflection of our relationship. So that's first and foremost really important to me. I want to take care of him physically, mentally, emotionally, be the best partner I can be for him. More specifically in terms of my riding goals, I'd love to do something like the extreme trail competition or some low-level reining classes or things of that nature, bridleless. So again, taking the horsemanship to the next level and having my riding ability get to the point where I can do it without a bridle, because the true horseman will say, once you take the halter or the bridle off, what you have left is the truth. And if you can do everything you do with your horse with the bit in his mouth, without the bit in his mouth, I think that's pretty incredible. And so that would be an ultimate goal for me, and I'm determined to accomplish it with Sawyer at someday. All right, have you ever made any New Year's resolutions, riding oriented or not, that were totally unrealistic? I think everyone's gonna probably talk about weight loss, so that's kind of boring. I am gonna say, my coworkers are gonna laugh at this, I'm not the best at staying on top of my email inbox. I get a lot of email, and so for me to say, I'm gonna answer every email I receive within a 24-hour window is probably an unrealistic New Year's resolution, but I'm setting it again this year. So my email inbox is gonna be clean, and I'm gonna stay on top of it, and we'll see how that goes. So you guys let us know what your most unrealistic expectation has been. And let's see, last but not least, do you have any tips for sticking to and following through on your resolutions? My tips would be, I like setting 6-month goals. So if you think in terms of the whole year, that can be a little bit overwhelming. So maybe chunk it out and think in terms of 6-month goals, and those are a little bit more realistic. I also recommend writing your goals down, both personally and professionally. I've already kind of gone through towards the end of the year and said, here's what I want to accomplish with my horse. I've put different clinics and events on my calendar. I've thought about, time I want to allocate for friends and family, things of that nature, thinking about graduate school and what I need to do to get the steps in place to start that perhaps in the spring. So being realistic about your goals, chunking them out, writing them down, and then also prioritizing. Like, don't write down 16 goals and then beat yourself up when you fail. Pick the top 3 and give yourself credit for making small changes towards that. The other probably best piece of advice I have is think in terms of 1% shifts. So if you expect to go from being, really, really bad at something to really, really good at something overnight, you're just setting yourself up to fail. So set yourself up for success. Think in terms of little 1% shifts. So for me, with my email example, it would be maybe the first month I block off time on my work calendar to answer emails every single day at the same time and develop a habit of staying on top of emails during that part of the day. I don't know if that's the best example, but at any rate, whatever your goal is, don't try to go from 0 to 100 overnight, and give yourself credit. Pat yourself on the back for making small little changes, because those are the most realistic. You don't have to, however the saying goes, you don't have to climb the whole staircase at once. It's one step at a time. So I think that is very sound advice, if I do say so myself, and hopefully I can stick to it myself. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, we want to hear from all of you about what your New Year's resolutions are. Specifically, I am tagging My Equine Addiction, and I'm probably not going to say this right, so I apologize, macadoenzie. Well, hopefully I didn't butcher that too much. We're really looking forward to hear your specific tag videos, but honestly, even if we didn't tag you, if you are a SmartPak fan, we want to hear from you. So thanks for watching. Happy New Year. Best of luck with all of your New Year's resolutions. Go easy on yourselves and have a great ride.